There's a story to be told of the sign from the poop deck in Hermosa Beach, which has been a favorite spot for hundreds of thousands of people for many years. It was my good fortune a few years back to be working on a project on Monterey, and we were tearing some cabinets and some walls out, and lo and behold, inside, hidden behind a cabinet, was the original poop deck sign. I thought, oh my God, well that'll sure look good in my backyard. I can't do that, I've got to give it to the museum so more people can see it. So I called the guy who just happened to be a friend of mine, Mike Ludwig, who sold the house to the new owners, who were my clients, and asked him, and he told me an interesting story. Apparently, in the late 50s, early 60s, there was a after-hours poker game going on inside of the poop deck with the owner and a couple of his buddies. Apparently, at one point in the evening, it got to be a relatively expensive pot. Whereas, the ownership of the poop deck was on the line, and all of a sudden, there was a brand new owner. Well, before the sun came up, ownership went back to the original owner, and I'm sure he was quite relieved. However, upon their exit, after this all-night poker game, the guy who had owned the bar for a couple of minutes walked out and ripped that sign off the side. It used to hang out kind of onto the strand, so you can see it as you're going by. And when that happened, a piece of it went kind of tumbling over to the other side of the strand. Well, he took that home. My friend Mike Ludwig got it. It's really kind of unclear exactly what the mechanics were behind that, but the good news is 50 plus years later, it ended up at the museum where it belongs. That being such an icon of Hermosa Beach. About 3 years later, I get a phone call from an anonymous person that says, I understand that you retrieved the sign from the poop deck down in Hermosa Beach. I said, yes, who's calling? He said, well, that really isn't important. He said, I was there when it was ripped off the wall, and there used to be a little bird who used to sit up on that thing, and when it got ripped off, that little bird kind of went bouncing across the strand, and the guy that took the sign didn't want the bird, so I picked it up. And it's actually been in my house for about half a century now, and I figure it's about time for that bird to fly back home to where it belongs. So the sign, so I got the bird, and here it is. I'll be at home. Nice looking bird, huh? And now the two are united and are back at the world's greatest small town museum, the Hermosa Beach Historical Society Museum.